is that beeping? Danny D, how you doing? Hello, hello, hello. What ho? Welcome back to another exciting adventure of the Plain Truth. I'm your host, Travis Finley. I am here at the Concord Point Lighthouse where I do my typical observations. Hi, how you doing? I am here at the Concord Point Lighthouse where I do my typical observations, and I am meeting a couple of French journalists from a TV station based in Washington, D.C. They got a hold of me somehow, and within the past couple days wanted to try to set up something. I tried to pull up a meet with everybody that I know in the area, and no one could make it. No one could make it, so I'm flying solo right now. No. Hi, English teacher in France. No, I am not in France. But how does the sound? How's the sound? It's a little bit windy. I wasn't sure if I was going to go live out here because it's so windy, and I wasn't sure if it was going to give you guys a lot of static noise. So yeah, I know, right? Good luck with that, right? So they should be rolling up sometime soon. I'm not real sure. They said they were going to be here in about 15 minutes, which was around 12 or 10 o'clock. So, all right, great. Everything's fine. I have no idea. I mean, they gave me a couple of questions that they're going to ask me. They wanted to come out here and then go back to my apartment. So I'm just going to kind of be at the beck and call of these journalists. So here I am. How you guys doing? A little bit nervous. I mean, it is a little bit nerve-wracking, right? I mean, you're going to be on public television at some point. They can edit and nip and tuck, and who knows what's going to happen. So, going to take it on a good faith that everything's going to be on the up and up. Yeah, as soon as they get here, I am actually going to go get my battery. I'm going to go get my charger cord. I left it in the car. I'll be right back. I mean, it would be kind of humorous, I suppose, if they're not really going to come. They just led me on. Who knows? But like I said, taking it in good faith. How is everybody out there doing? Looks like I've got 12 Smurfs watching. 12 Smurfs watching. You guys know what the deal is. I want to see those Fonzarellis. Adam, where are you? Derek, where are you? You left me out here flapping in the wind, man, by myself. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot. That's bros for you, right? I know, Papa Smurf all alone, right? All right, so I'm gonna get my battery pack is going. Hello, new here, Pammy Smurf. Welcome to the show, Pammy Smurf. I've got Smurfs in the house waiting for whatever's going to happen right now. Last minute, yeah, last minute plans. Well, they contacted me last minute. I tried to tell them that I've got this meetup planned in March 22nd. I put the announcement up on flatearth101.com, and flatearth101.com. So March 22nd is when I've got our tentative meetup here. So, but they wanted to do it as fast as possible. So I said, well, I don't think you guys are going to get the show that you want because it's last minute, and it's really cold out right now. It's probably in the mid 30s, and there's a nice breeze which kicks it down a bit. And so there's not going to be a whole lot of, I think, great conversations with people who are going to want to stop and chat about the nature of our world and what we think is real. So But anyway, Addie Smurf is in the house. She walks in, smiles, sits down, says hello to everybody. A chilly day in Florida is a hot day in Baltimore. No, a chilly day in Florida is a freezing day. Whatever. I'm making shit up. So there is the Concord Point Lighthouse from the backside. And right out there is where I normally set up, just right past there. There is the War Memorial flag. You can see that it's not that far. I mean, it's so funny. You know what? Look, see, there's the flag and there's the lighthouse. Derek, if you remember the first time we shot and you walked from the lighthouse all the way over to where you guys were, I felt like it took forever. And what's interesting now that I think about it is from the distance over on Red Point, it actually seems to stretch out the landscape because it looks really, really far from a distance. So that would be really interesting the way uh, the Aether band affects the landscape. I saw a comment about miraging. So let's see, right, right out there, right past. That's the mouth of the Chesapeake right there, and I can see an inferior mirage there. Um, right there is a house that I shoot across the way. It looks to me like there's a mirage on that, so I do think that there's an inferior mirage out there right now. I do think that that's the case. So yeah, the title of my show was clickbait, just to get you guys here. There's really no French journalist team. I'm kidding. Hopefully, like I said, they should be here pretty soon. So I've got my hood pulled up because of the wind. Maybe it'll muffle the sound of the wind every once in a while. So how's everybody doing? We got 14 Smurfs in the house, only 6 Fonzarellis. Hit those Fonzarellis. Don't forget that you can support this channel in so many ways. You support this channel, first of all, by being here. You guys are my Smurfs. Thanks for being here. You can support this channel if you are new. Please subscribe. Please hit that Fonzarelli, which is the thumbs up, right? Hey, we want to give a thumbs up for the show. And then also you can share the show. And then as well, you can hit that bell notification so that you can be notified in times like this when I go live. But there's also another extra special way that you can support this show, and that is the super chat. You can hit that super chat and throw some support this way for this content, this platform, this provider, because time is money, right? Everything that I put my efforts into takes time, and depending on the kind of sacrifice that I make, which is what I'm referring to from last month when I went to California for, originally I went for 7 days and just did not get good coverage, good footage. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to stay another week. So I stayed for 17 days and shot for 17 days, and I'm still going through the footage. So that took time, that took money, that cost a nice chunk of change to do that. So anyway, Tammy Clyde, welcome to the show. I saw you before, but again, welcome. I'm sure Pammy, you're going to get a lot of action in the chat asking your questions. So everybody, make sure you play nice. Let's not make any derogatory or inflammatory comments. Let's try to help curiosity. Addie Smurf hits the super chat. Thank you so much, Addie. It is more because you're here. It is more. That was awesome. Thanks so much. I'm going to try to get some merchandise put together, maybe some hats and some shirts, and I will randomly call out super chat numbers. If you are the second super chat, if you're the fifth super chat, you will get a merchandise prize. So we'll see how that goes. 16 Smurfs out there. It's been 10 minutes since I started, and they said 15 minutes before they got here, and that was a little bit ago. So, like I said, we'll see. They're coming up from DC. I'm not spinning. I'm not spinning. Shout out to Isa Mahalski with his music. I'm not spinning. When I drink too much, smiles. Yeah, smiles, not smells. Oh, smiles. I see how you spelled it. Yeah, yeah. 19 Smurfs in the house. Welcome to the show, everybody. I think they are here. I think we've got our journalists here. Hi.
Hello, are you Travis?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, sorry for the delay.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
There was a crash on the highway.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, my name is Loic.
Loic.
Loic, yeah, it's a kind of French.
Well, it's not kind of. It's not weird.
Yeah, no,
It's French.
It's French.
Loic.
From Brittany.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
A little bit chilly.
Cold, yeah, it's a little bit chilly.
So,
But
good,
it's
good.
a very nice, nice city, nice town.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys have time to stay around afterwards, take a little walk around. It's a very historic town.
Yeah.
A lot of nice little
Not today because we
restaurants.
have a meeting of Bernie Sanders to cover in Virginia this afternoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Getting back down, how far down into Virginia? Alexandria or farther than that?
I don't remember where it is.
Okay.
Maybe it's around Richmond or something like this. But definitely, I'll come back with my family here because we
Definitely do that.
we
And
live in Maryland
if
too,
you
so-
do that, yeah, make sure you contact me. We can get together. Hi,
Hi, good morning. My name is Fabian.
Fabian.
Yeah,
Fabian. Okay, great to
Nice
meet you,
to meet
Fabian.
you. So
Right,
you're
great.
Travis?
Yeah, I'm going live right now. So we've got. Hey, thanks for the super chat. I don't see who that is for the super chat. But yeah, I've got 24 people watching right now. So we're live.
Good, yeah.
Whatever. I mean, if you guys want to, just let me know what you want to
Yeah,
look
sure.
for.
You know,
And
you can carry on working on what you're doing right now. So if you're
do you
live,
want me to? Do you want me to take you to where I normally shoot and set up my camera and I
yeah,
show
for
you what I do?
example, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Let's do this.
All right.
Do you need something else? Do you need a tripod or?
Do you guys mind being on camera? Can I put you guys
Yeah,
on
yeah,
camera?
sure, no problem.
All right. So everybody, this is Loic and Fabian.
Hi.
Hi.
Awesome. Guys making a fantastic trip to come up and see me and take some time out of their schedule. So I'm going to go walk over to where I normally set up and we'll see how it goes from there. That's pretty exciting. I don't see who the second super chat was from, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Pammy, thanks for hanging around. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I was hoping maybe we would have a nice warm snap, a little bit more of a better weather with people coming by and whatnot, but
It's already great.
so when I first moved out here a couple years ago, I tried to get a feel for what I was going to see, where I was going to find some good photography and good images, and finally settled down right here because I have this no swimming sign. That way I can always set up in the same spot, unless of course I'm going to change my elevation and get a different shot from a higher location, which would just be really right here on the walkway. But as you can see right now, the tide for the Chesapeake Bay is down a little bit. Watch your step right here. There's a couple steps. So what I'm going to do just real quick is just set this up right here for the stream. Get my battery out. So when
Would you mind
yeah, go ahead. Let me know.
Yeah, clip
a microphone?
You want to? Okay. Yeah.
But that's beautiful.
Yeah, I have got some amazing sunrise images,
I
just
can imagine, yeah,
beautiful,
because
absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I'm very, very blessed
but the Chesapeake is
to have this spot.
This is the Chesapeake Bay. It's not the.
It is it is the
Yeah.
Chesapeake Bay, and then to the left coming in is the Susquehanna River,
Yeah.
which comes down in through Pennsylvania. So yeah.
Yes, we can just clip this to you.
Anyway,
Fabian, you prefer the microphone inside the jacket for the wind, or yeah, like this? Okay. Perfect. Okay, if you can just put this, I don't know.
In our
Yeah,
pocket.
perfect. In our pocket.
Okay.
It's great. It's,
All right. Well, then I'm just going to go over here real quick and
no,
set
really,
up.
but honestly, no. I'm very interested in those kind of topics, and I remember it was not at all the same thing, but I enjoyed very much go to the Area 51. You know, in last
Uh-huh.
winter. When was it? In October, something like this, in Nevada, and I enjoyed it very much. It was a of course different story, but it's people not taking what the government was saying for granted, you know. So it was
Yeah.
some kind of philosophy. So it's very interesting. And so right now, what you have a lot of equipment and
Well, no, I just brought my basic stuff. I have two cameras, but the one camera, my first camera that I bought, actually fell into the river. I had it set up right here, and I moved it far enough away, I thought, from the water. But a boat came by, and the waves came up and just nudged my tripod, and it just dove right into the water. But thankfully, it recovered. I have my cameras have names, right? So I've named my cameras. This one is Sondra 2, okay? My first camera is Sondra, and I named my cameras after the YouTube channel Coolpix P900, and the content provider there, her name is Sondra, so I just nicknamed my camera after her.
And now the idea is what, to set up cameras. You do this quite regularly.
I come out here, well, because it's so cold, I haven't been coming out as often, but just make sure you watch you got rocks right behind you, and I don't want you to trip and fall. So basically, what I would normally, well, not, I don't always do this, but every once in a while I will take a video of where I'm at so that everybody can see that I'm setting up in the same spot. They can see that I'm setting up always in the same spot. And basically, the idea with these observations is, if the Earth is a globe, there is going to be measurable curvature. So at some point on the globe, the Earth is going to curve away from us. You should be able to figure that out mathematically. I mean, science is all about math. They love crunching numbers, right? I was never told as a kid that you can learn, you can figure out what the curvature of the Earth is. I was always told it's so big, you can't measure it. It's so big you don't know how big it is, and it's so big that it looks like it's flat. So I was never told that you can actually work it out in terms of math to figure out and measure it. Well,
with those two cameras, what, you put them in two different positions?
Sometimes like this one, I might lower this one down here, right? Because when you lower your angle, you change the way that you view things over distance. So if I have it low here, I'll have one perspective. I'll have the other camera shooting the same direction but higher. That way you can see the contrast, right? So all along here we have different distances. Um, straight ahead of us there's an island. It's 3 miles away. And then if you see that the dark land that goes out, and then right where the rays are coming out, can you see that like really thin blue line on the water?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 6 miles away. And then the farthest land beyond that is 12 miles away.
Just sorry, Fabian, you wanted to avoid the sign?
Non, je voudrais que tu passes à gauche vu que.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got six.
Okay. Can we go there, over there, just near your first camera?
Sure.
So that we can see better the sea or the bay.
Okay, sure. So if you just look out there, you can see the contrast in the tone of the color of the land, right? So to our right, that's 6 miles away. In the middle is 12 miles away. To the left is 9 miles away. And then if you come all the way over, keep going left, that's all 9 miles. You see that channel marker right there, that green channel marker? Okay. Straight ahead of that, you've got a shoreline with houses. A lot of the times you cannot see those houses because of the refraction that is in the air. And then there are times when the air is very clear and you can see straight down to the shoreline. You can see that now it's not very clear because it's so far away, but you can see that it's brown. You can see the shoreline. Okay. The typical mathematical, let me turn this a little bit so you're not right there. Expression for the measurement of the Earth is for every mile there's curvature. Okay, so it's said this way: 8 inches per mile squared. You square the mile. This is a little bit.
I see what you mean.
Okay.
Even if it's tiny, you cannot really, what they say, if you cannot really notice it by the human eye,
So,
you have a curvature for each mile.
okay, so as we're standing here on the shoreline, a mile away from us, the Earth is curving away 8 inches. At the next mile, it's, I believe, 32 inches. And the next mile, which is 3 miles, is 72 inches, which is 6 feet. So 3 miles away, the water is curving 6 feet. So if there's something lower than 6 feet at 3 miles, we can't see it, or we shouldn't be able to see it. But we often do. And that becomes an issue with, well, if the Earth is curving away and there's the Earth is supposed to be blocking your ability to see farther, why can we see farther? Why do we see things that look like they're right in front of us? So a lot of my observations.
So the idea, on very basic way, the idea is that normally, if the Earth was round, we couldn't see those houses, for example.
Correct. At 9 miles, that's just underneath 10 miles, and I believe at 10 miles there's 60 feet. So 60 feet, which is rather high. So those houses, if we see the shoreline, it's impossible to see the shoreline because it should be 60 feet beyond our ability to see it. But we see it. So just for instance, that green marker that's out there, we don't have any red channel markers here on this one. There's one over here, but it's daytime, so it's not really going to be blinking. But over there 9 miles away, I have channel markers that are relatively close to, like, see that green one right there?
Yeah, I see.
I would say that's like maybe a quarter mile, maybe a third of a mile away. I have line of sight captures 9 miles away of those right on the water. Again, I shouldn't be able to see it. It should be hidden by the Earth's curve. So I'm just coming out and just capturing. I've actually fallen in love with just getting captures of nature itself, because the dynamic display of what the atmosphere will do in terms of the humidity, the condensation, the temperature, all of that, it will change what we see as we're looking. It'll be blurry, it'll be distorted. Very often there are mirages. So what I'll do, I'll turn on my camera and show you, because there's a great mirage out there. All right. So I call this the mouth of the Chesapeake because basically that's right where the if a boat was coming up from the Chesapeake, this is how it would enter into this area. So if you want to come closer right here, I can show you the the miraging effect. You see that thin white line at the bottom? Okay, that's the sky being mirrored. Okay, so the sky is up here.
Sorry.
The sky is up here.
I need to do a setting because
Go ahead.
it's reflecting on my.
Well, I can take it. I can show you stills on my computer that I have of this.
Yeah, maybe we
Yeah,
can start like this, but yeah, after that, yeah, it will be more, it will be easier.
But basically, what ends up happening is that we lose our ability. Watch out behind you again. I really don't want you to trip.
Can we go back there?
Sure. The way that I try to explain it is that when we see the horizon, if we're looking out there, the horizon for us right now is the landscape, right? Because that's where the land appears to meet the sky. But when you're out on the ocean, you just have water and sky. And very often when you see the horizon, you think that that's where the earth is curving away because you don't see anything farther than that, right? And before I was into flat earth, I never thought about it. I never thought when I looked out at the horizon that I was looking at where the earth ended and that's where it curves away from you. But when you start to think through what we've been told about the shape of our world, those kinds of questions do come up. And one of the very first reasons people will give that they believe that the earth is curved is because they have either heard or they think that they have seen boats go over the curvature. When the boats go into the distance, they lose sight of those boats. Well, where did they go? Well, they went over the curve. In fact, there's an astronomer, Michelle Thaler, on YouTube. If you go to Big Think, and she's got this 8-minute clip where she talks about her best proofs. Her number one proof is boats going over the curvature. The focus that I've tried to do with what I'm doing is to disprove that, is to provide an alternative explanation for what happens when the boat gets out far enough and we lose the ability to see it clearly. The reason why we lose the ability to see it clearly is because the atmosphere is distorting the image
And blurring
and
make it vanish in a way.
And when there's a mirage, the boat goes into that mirage, and it looks like to us, um, if we think that the Earth is round, that's the cause for it. But the one thing that I also realized when I first started doing my photography was that with my naked eye, I can't see that. It's too far away. So if I asked you to tell me what that island looks like, can you tell me what that island looks like that's out there? There's a house.
Yeah, from that point.
Right? There's a house on that island. Can you see it?
No.
No, you can't see it. But if I took my camera and showed you the house, you would see the atmosphere distorting that image. It would be mirrored. It would be we might call it blurry, but it's due to the atmosphere. I don't know. I'm trying to think about what else to say, but so the way that I say it is that when ships go into the distance and we lose sight of them, the reason why we're losing sight of them is because the atmosphere is distorting that image that far away.
Yeah.
It is never due to curvature. When we lose sight of the boat, it's never because it went over a curve. It's always because the limits of our eyes, we can't see that far, but then also the atmosphere distorts the image. Now, what I can do real quick is possibly choose one of my observations and just kind of show you what I mean by that. There's a house right over there that's white. And I can tell right now that there's a good inferior mirage on it. So let me get over there real quick and I'll show you that. I have at least 5 different observations here that I capture because they don't move, right? They're always going to be
Yeah.
there, right? So it's easy to. Okay, so can you see this, Loic? That's right, Loic.
Yeah, yeah, Loic, very good spelling.
Okay, so you see that house?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. As you said, it's blurred. But you
I
see
have
it.
I have
Yeah,
this house absolutely. You can count the windows.
yeah.
You can see the grass, but right now you can't. Hold on, let me back out real quick. I think I went up. Okay,
Yeah.
you can see some things, but that house right there, that image of that house, it's a mirage. So there's a reflection of the house underneath the house, and when that happens on the water, it creates a horizon for us.
Hmm.
It looks like the horizon, and so people tend to think that that's where the water ends because you don't see any more water. If the water was there in their mind, they think if the water was there, I would see it. Well, no, the mirage is the obstruction. The reason why you can't see the water continue to go into the distance is because it's behind the mirage. So the way that I've thought through that is that on these short distances, if a mirage can block my ability to see farther, it's going to be the same when I look farther over the ocean. The reason why I can't see certain things is because the atmosphere is creating um, distortion or mirage or what we would maybe call obstruction. It's it's a dynamic. Uh,
And we're gonna discuss with your
sure,
computer. We're gonna discuss further on what I'm really interested in is the fact that yeah, we are taught to think in a way, and yeah, except maybe astronauts, none of us have been above to prove or
right.
unprove that. But for you right now, would you say that this activity that you have, would you say it's a hobby, it's a passion, it's
Oh, it's
investigation, it's
absolutely, yeah, yeah. It's all of those. It's all of those. I I very often when it's a nice day, I have to fight not coming out here to shoot because I would be out here all the time. I mean, seriously, I love it. Absolutely love it. I love that there's the house that I was telling you about over there. I call it my Monet shot
Mhm.
because at certain times of the year when it's so vibrant and colorful and it's distorted and refracted, it looks like a Monet watercolor. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. And it happens all the time. So I love coming out here as a hobby. Yeah, I'm absolutely fascinated by it, and but it is also an investigation. Um, I do think that I have to probably take this to the next level and start to um, write more of my thoughts down because I have enough images. I have plenty of images to provide to show what I'm talking about. But in terms of taking it has to go outside of YouTube. It can't stay in YouTube. It has to go into the academia um, to get reviewed by others who are in those fields. I think that we are not looking at the world the way that we should, and I think that the reason why we do that is because we've been told that the world is one way, and so we think that it's that way, so we don't look anywhere else. I don't know if you can imagine a courtroom where you have somebody who is accused of a crime, and it seems like they have the evidence that says that it's him, but they're missing something, and the other guy is out on walking the streets, so they have the wrong suspect, but they think they have him because they have enough evidence, and so they stopped looking. I think that that's just our natural tendency, that we think that that's that way, so we don't think outside of the box. We don't squint with our eyes and kind of go, not really sure that makes sense. And that's what I've been doing for the past two years is squinting my eyes and scratching my head and trying to rethink the curve.
And what has been the trigger for that? Have you always been involved in those kind of investigations,
No.
or have you always been doubtful about what you were taught, or
Nope.
was there
Yeah.
something that,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
trigger?
great question. So a lot of the times, if you watch people who on YouTube that tell you their story, they were already into conspiracies, or they were already questioning certain things like the government or education or history. I hadn't crossed that line. Um, so flat Earth for me was the first line that I crossed in
You
this
mean in a
area.
way you were a very mainstream,
Very well, yeah, but see,
I would say, yeah, mainstream
sure,
citizen, and
sure. I accepted the stories that were given to me. Say, if there was a particular large scale event, like say 19 years ago, there was a large scale event that we were told was a certain event. I I didn't question it. Sure, okay, that's where. But I was never into the news. That just wasn't my bag. So I actually have an education in Bible training. So I have a master's degree in biblical training, and in that um, in that field, I was questioning things because the things that I was taught as a kid, and even as a young man going to college, there were things that I was reading in the Bible that didn't seem to agree with
like
what.
what?
Whew, that's a good question. That's a
Sorry,
good. No, no, no. That's a good
no, no.
question. Um,
Because nowhere in the Bible it's written uh, how Earth is. It's no,
well,
it's non-written if
yeah,
it's round
that's correct.
or flat.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm a flat earther, and I have a high respect for the Bible. But I will argue with anyone who says that the Bible is a flat Earth book. There are many Christians who say that the Bible is a flat Earth book because there are certain statements in the Bible that if you don't know the original languages, the way that it's written in English,
Mm.
it sounds like that's what it's saying. But that wasn't what I was questioning. Let's say, for instance, have you are you familiar with Christianity? Are you familiar with?
Yeah, I'm Christian from
Okay,
education, but I'm not at all. I have not done
okay.
any biblical studies
So
or.
you know that there's the story is that Jesus is going to come back,
Mhm.
right? Sometime in the future, Jesus is going to come back and make everything right.
Yeah,
I was confronted with the Bible in the New Testament because there are numerous passages that make it very clear that they thought those things were going to happen in their time. They thought Jesus was coming back in their time. And we've been told, I was raised to believe that Jesus didn't come back because there were certain things that should have happened. And one of those things is that people think that the world is going to end. The world is going to, um, God is going to come in, is going to get rid of all evil, and then he's going to make the world new. And the Bible does have that kind of language. But the way I say it is that there's a difference between what the Bible says and what the Bible means by what it says. So just real quick, for instance, two prominent figures in the early 20th century, Bertrand Russell, who was a philosopher, not a Christian. He wrote a small tract, I think it's called "Why I'm Not a Christian." And the reason why he wrote that tract was because he believed that Jesus said that the end of the world was going to happen really quick after Jesus was around, but it didn't.
Mhm.
So Bertrand Russell said Jesus was a liar. He didn't know what he was talking about. And C.S. Lewis, who is one of the most well-known Christian authors, the Chronicles of Narnia, the Paralandra series, all of those books that he has written, he said the same thing. He said the most embarrassing text in the Bible is where Jesus said that the sun and the moon and the stars were going to fall from the sky, because it sounds like it was supposed to happen in the first century, but C.S. Lewis said it didn't happen.
Mhm.
So C.S. Lewis was embarrassed by that. He didn't know how to reconcile it. He still was a Christian. Bertrand Russell saw that Jesus said the same thing, Well, it didn't happen. We're all still here. The sun's still up. The stars haven't fallen from the sky. So that was one of the things that just made me squint my eyes. It sounds like the Bible is saying that these things should have happened. And I just, the more and more that I study, I'm not the only one. There are plenty of people out there that think that the New Testament prophecies have already been fulfilled. They are, and they have. I believe that they have. So the New Testament has nothing to say to us in terms of our future. There's nothing that's going to. Jesus is not coming back. The language that the New Testament uses for those things has to do with um, symbolic language in how God had a relationship with Israel at that time. So, I mean, that's a huge another story.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was
Yeah,
enough.
but once again, there is nothing. Is there something in the Bible who says something about flat Earth or round Earth,
No,
or not really? Are you
no,
think it's a question
no,
maybe of
because
translation?
the Bible is not a science book. Okay, it's not there to make scientific declarations. There are two passages that I can think of. One is Isaiah, I want to say 22, where it says something to the effect that God looks down on the circle of the earth. But one of the things that I was taught as a Christian when I was going to Bible college is that you don't really base something that you believe the Bible says on one verse.
Hmm.
You know, we want to have
Yeah.
more confirmation, right? We want to have more confirmation. So even if there is that one verse, even if there is another verse, the point that I'm trying to make is, in the grand scheme of things, the Bible does not describe or talk about the shape of the earth. Um, in fact, I'll just say this. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. In my channel, people know what I'm going to say probably, but the word earth in English makes us think of something really, really big, right? The word earth, the whole earth. And the Bible does say the whole earth, but that's English. So the word in Hebrew for earth is just land. So if I say the whole land right here, I'm not talking about Africa. I'm not talking about Australia. I'm talking about right here. This land right here. This whole land. So the Bible is concerned about one geographical location primarily. That's the nation of Israel. So when it talks about the
Yeah.
whole land, that's the land that it's talking about. Real quick, just to say it, the the flat earthers will say the earth is immovable. The earth is firmly fixed, right? So in their minds, that means that the earth isn't moving. But if we consider what I was saying before about the language, that it's the land that is immovable, it's the land that is
Mm.
firmly fixed. Israel in the Bible is closely associated with her land. And God uses stability when things are good.
Yeah, I see what you
When
mean.
things are bad, the earth,
Yeah.
the land is tumultuous, the land is shaky. That's the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
So when we see that it says that the land is firmly fixed, in that passage, God is saying everything's good right now. You guys are good. Anyway,
And no, it's really interesting. And before we go to your computer, because we are very interested in that too. But once again, so you were, I would say, just to summarize, a mainstream uh, American citizen. You just told us about 9/11 and so on. What was the trigger? When did you started to question
yeah. So again,
and to embrace the flat earthers?
so as a Christian, I'm a truck driver. So I drive hours and hours a day, and I listen to podcasts, I listen to YouTube channels, I listen to books. I mean, I have tons of time. I've read so many books that I would never have had the chance to read. I just didn't have time. So I was listening to a sermon 2 years ago in August 2017, and the pastor was a geocentrist. So he believes that the Earth is a globe, but he believes that the Earth is the center of the universe and everything still moves around it. The Earth doesn't move around anything else, right? So the Earth for him is still stationary, it doesn't move. So he brought up the reality that if the Earth is moving and you leave the surface of the Earth is going to keep moving. What are you going to do? Right?
And the science says, of course, there is the attraction law, so you're gonna
Sure,
move with the Earth.
sure. We can't break down everything, all of the arguments, but it made sense to me. So what basically he said was, okay, so imagine if you get in a plane from New York and you fly to Los Angeles. If the Earth is spinning towards you and you're flying with it, those are going to counteract each other. You're going to get to LA faster,
Mhm.
but you don't. You get there roughly the same time both ways. To me, that made sense. That if the Earth is moving and we leave that frame of reference, the Earth is going to continue to go. Now, what I try to do on a small scale is make sense of things on a small scale, and then say that if it's true on a small scale, it needs to be true on a larger scale as well. If this was a fast flowing river and we got into the river and moved with it, we would be traveling the same speed as the river. But if we left that boat somehow, like say it was a very large boat, and they had a hot air balloon on it,
Yeah.
and we got on the hot air balloon on the boat, we got off the boat, that boat would continue to go down the river. That hot air balloon would not continue to go. It wouldn't maintain the same momentum. It won't.
Mhm.
It will not.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So we know those things on a small scale. So then people think this way. They think, okay, that's true. That should happen. But the earth is moving and it's not happening. So why is it that? So instead of having any empirical proof, they think of a way. Well, then we must be moving, the atmosphere must be moving with the earth too. Well, you can't prove that. That's just your thought. That's just your idea of what isn't happening that should be happening.
And was it a big change? So it was like 2 years ago. Was it a big change in your life?
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah. Oh yeah.
revolution
Oh
in
yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
How did it change? And
It just
so it came gradually, or really this podcast, this
I
was a
I pretty much left behind the science of a spherical earth within a minute. It took me a minute. I said that makes complete sense. And so I just started investigating from there. I just started looking and watching videos that were discussing it. And I would watch all sorts of videos. I wouldn't just watch flat earth videos. And I would look up references for websites and things like that. And I would go and see what the science says. And in my opinion, when I read what the science says, I could see that they were just assuming things to be true without proving it. They were just assuming that that was the case. So yeah, that investigation helped me to uh, start to question those areas of science, and the questions are still there. I mean, because I have a debate later on tonight, part two debate with another channel, and
Maybe I can take the tripod.
yeah, I think
do you want to wrap up and go back to the apartment, or do
yeah,
you
we're gonna
because
yeah
it
really
is
in a
kind of
minute.
cold.
C'est bon?
Non, on va partir dans une minute avec lui. Je suis désolé.
No, no worries.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just a very last question. The once again, the core of this is that you realize that that you have been taught something at school or in our mainstream lives, and you were never able to prove it. And
So
that's this idea of we okay, we learn things and we take it for granted.
okay, do you know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
Okay,
you can tell,
okay.
you can remind us.
So if it could be a graphic novel or a graphic book, and you could draw a naked emperor, I mean, completely naked, right? And he's walking down the street and he's naked. And people are saying, look at that beautiful robe. Our emperor has the most beautiful clothes, right? That story is about our reality. The emperor is our globe. It's naked. It's it's saying, look, I have a beautiful ensemble, right? Look at my clothes. No, you're naked. No, no, no. I'm not naked. I have a jacket. Look, feel. Remember in the story, and they're like, oh, feeling the. There's nothing there. They're like, oh, this is the most incredible silk. It's so smooth, right? So we've been told that our reality has clothes. Our our Earth is has curvature, and our Earth has motion. We'll just leave it at that. Curvature and motion. I don't I don't feel motion. I'm not moving.
The sky is moving, the stars, the moon is moving.
What we see with our eyes is everything is moving over us. Everything is moving over us, right? So why not say that those clouds that are moving right now, why not say that those clouds are standing still and we're moving? Why not say that? No one says that, right? So going back to the emperor has the emperor's new clothes. The simplicity of what children understand, right? So in the story, a child thinking to himself, the emperor's naked. He doesn't have clothes on. And he says, Mom, he's got no clothes. And everybody's like, shh, don't say that. We know he doesn't have any clothes, but we have to agree. Otherwise, we'll be thrown in prison or whatever it is. So if I don't know if you can go back, I can go back and think that I remember thinking, okay, so if the earth is a globe and there are people upside down, how do people live upside down?
Because there's a gravity.
Well, that's the story that we're told, right? The same thing with water. I mean, children ask those simple questions. How does the water stay on the ball, right? How does the water stay? Those simple questions, I think, are the legitimate questions. Just stay right there. Just stay right there. Wrestle through the reality.
And
Well,
we have been told that way, and we took it for granted. That's
yeah, yeah. Because as a kid, he'll say, why does how how does that work? So if you think about this, look, if we had a skyscraper and we tried to walk up the skyscraper 90 degrees, we wouldn't be able to do it. Our bodies couldn't handle the weight. We would fall. But if you think about the fact that on the globe, at some point somebody's at 90 degrees. Not we don't live in a 90-degree world except for vertical, right? 90-degree vertical. But if you go 90 degrees farther, and or upside down. If you hang upside down, the blood rushes to your head. But if you're upside down on the earth, that doesn't happen. That those are incongruities. And so then we have to say, well, then this must be happening or this must be happening. But you can't prove those things. You can think through how it's possible, but you can't prove it. And that's the whole issue. The whole issue is arguing over the ability to prove. It's not what you believe. Don't tell me what you believe the earth is. Prove it. I can prove to you that this water is level all the way across, right? I can prove to you at 9 miles, if I were on the shore over there at 9 miles, you and I would be at the same elevation, straight across from each other. Not on a globe. On a globe, one of us would be lower. But water doesn't bend the way that we're told on a globe. If you have a container of water and you change that container, the water doesn't change. The
it's
water.
all question of like not in a dictatorship, but it's all question of like propaganda, you would say. Oh, I mean, not propaganda, not political propaganda, but the fact that okay, when you're in I don't know in fourth grade or third grade, you're told Earth is a globe. You were too, like a kid, like any student, and that's it. We don't question it after. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, I mean, but everything that we're taught about space depends on the globe. So it's not just about the shape of the Earth. It's also about what we're told about the stars and the sun and everything that's out there, galaxies, nebula, Goldilocks zones, black holes, dark matter, everything that we can't prove.
We can see them.
Well, we can see them, but we can only see them in a limited fashion. What you and I see, with our eyes or our equipment, NASA sees better, and they have images that don't match up with what we can produce from the Earth, right? So I guess my point was that it's not just simply about the shape of the Earth, because there's a bigger story that goes along with that, that the shape of the Earth is a part of. And I mean, that's a a whole other discussion if you want to go down that road as well.
Yeah,
But,
sure. We can. You can still work here. Sorry for that.
Sorry.
well, yeah, I don't necessarily have any work to do because I'm just here
Okay,
for
so
you
maybe we
guys,
just
so
need
I can
a
wrap
few
up my.
minutes. I'm going to take my tripod just to get.
Hey guys,
to the
sorry if
top
I'm
of
not
the,
paying attention to you. I see we got 36 watching. Thanks so much. Good to see everybody out there. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to break down the camera, and I think we're going to go back to the apartment where it's nice and warm because it's cold. Give you a nice little shot over there.
oh, I'm sorry. Just for the editing, is it possible for you to put again your camera on the tripod?
Sure.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Wait a second. Sorry. Can you do it again? And please pretend I'm not here.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Ready?
Yeah.
Just let me know when you get your good enough. Is that enough?
No. Carry on a little bit.
I can be done whenever you're ready. Good?
You can carry on. I'm going to
Okay.
give you some wide shots.
It is cold as a Smurf out here, guys. Absolutely cold. Hope everybody's doing okay. I see 36 Smurfs, 25 Fonzarellis. That's pretty good. Let's get those Fonzarellis up a little bit higher. The Jolly Man is in the house.
Excuse me, Travis.
Yes.
Can you carry on taking pictures, maybe, with your tripod just for 5 minutes,
Okay.
and then we.
Oh, he's having me stay out longer. This is sacrifice your body for the cause. No calling names, Herb. No, no calling names. Is it okay if I'm right there? It is cold, people. Hope you guys appreciate the sacrifice I'm making right now. I need like Thinsulate gloves on or something like that because I have no gloves on. Oops, turned off my camera.
So you were talking about a house there.
Yep.
Can you tell me which one, please?
It's white.
It's white.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the white one.
yep.
I'm not sure. Maybe just. No, it's really.
I just wish it could have been nicer, in terms of temperature.
Yes, but it's afraid. It's,
No, yeah.
it's already beautiful.
It is. Yeah. For sure.
And after, do you mind, Travis, so that we can show that you you are live streaming, that you have an audience, maybe just to have
Sure.
a word on your or during your live stream.
Yeah, just let me know what what you need me to do or say or.
Or really say what you say in those. I mean, what you're used to say to your audience or to explain, and after we can move to your place, to your computer. I'm really sorry because we are in a hurry too because we
Sure.
need to go back to Virginia for this rally. Usually we're several teams, but in this Saturday we are the only one. We are the only team
Okay.
for our network in DC, so we have to do both. I really wish we could have had more time.
Are you trying to get the mouth, the water that I was showing you before? Or you want me to show you? Well,
Sure.
I guess I'll show you the on the camera too, but I can show you right now the what I call the Monet shot. Here, I'll move over here so you're not in his way. Try to find it real quick. So you can see that red marker on the
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
and then you see that little house there.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah. So right now, because it's the end of winter, so it's not a lot of development with the foliage and whatnot. But there are times when you can't even see. You wouldn't even recognize it. It wouldn't look like the same.
Yeah,
It
but
wouldn't
I
look the
see what you
same.
mean. Yeah, it should be with
I can zoom in a little bit closer.
a sunlight. I mean, a really string of light on it, or it should be beautiful.
Yeah, I'll have to find some good ones in my computer and show you some that are a little bit better.
So Travis,
Yes, sir.
would you mind to talk maybe to your viewers about your experience with it?
All right, guys. Well, this has always been an exciting adventure of the Plain Truth. I'm your host, Travis Finley. I have been here with Fabian and Loic, two journalists from a French television station that is based in Washington, D.C. We have 33 Smurfs watching. We've got 29 Fonzarellis. Let's make sure you guys hit those Fonzarellis so we have more thumbs along with the viewers. So what we're going to do right now is wrap it up here and then head back to the apartment for some warmer climate and maybe some coffee if you guys want some coffee. I've got some made up already, so we should be good to go. How's that?
Yeah, good. And can you explain what we did maybe to the viewers?
So
Once again, what kind? Can you just explain what kind of photos have you taken so far today, for example, and what would you bring back to your home to your computer to analyze, for example?
okay, so my viewers know that this is one of my main observations that I take out here. I have 5 different places that I shoot observations. One is the house that's over there. There is another house across the way that's actually a bed and breakfast. It's like a rental. Across the way where I was showing you the channel marker over there is another location in Maryland. It's called Earlville. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we got the mouth of the Chesapeake right there where I showed you before that we have the 6 miles of land, 9 miles, and then 12 miles. That's the 4th location. And then over here is the Battery Island that there is, I believe, it looks like it's a church, but I mean,
And also again, we
I,
can you explain to your viewers that we can see this perfectly, although this is a far distance.
sure, yeah. Well, like I said, I've done plenty of shows on my channel where I will take pictures on different days and put them next to each other and show you the difference between one day and the next. And there's a lot of things to notice that's a difference between one shot from the next and one day from the next. Sunny days, cold days, it doesn't matter. Uh, the dynamic conditions.
Can you explain it to your viewers right now in a few words? Is it possible to explain it? No?
Yeah, we have it. It's just that it's more important to get the computer stuff because
Ah, okay.
as we need to wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Travis.
You're more than welcome. Okay. I'm going to keep you guys live streaming, so I'm not going to shut the camera off. I think I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and not wrap all my stuff up normally. Is that Dank? What's going on, Dank? Dank Smurf is in the house. So what's the theme for the rally?
Oh, it's just that we are doing a story about Bernie Sanders, you know. So it's we have we have done stories about Bloomberg.
I'm
I
sorry.
know it's
Sorry to interrupt you.
sure, no,
Is it possible to film you just walking, you know, towards
walking by the
lighthouse?
lighthouse.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. And I'll tell you-
Here, let me maybe
Yeah.
make
Great.
this a little bit smaller. All right. Sorry, guys. So I'm gonna be walking towards the Concord Point Lighthouse.
Is it possible to do it without talking for
No,
a
no,
minute?
no, no. Don't do it.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
It does.
No, do it. It's
Oh,
perfect.
okay,
It's
sorry.
perfect. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah, no, it's
That's all right. Normally, this walkway has just a fantastic amount of traffic, kids, dogs, people walking, tourists from out of town, and so unfortunately, we are in a colder season, but nonetheless, an enjoyable place to take a walk and hard to think when you're cold, man. So what I can show you guys is if you've paid any attention to some of my recent footage, the tutorial that I started a couple of days ago. This is the cannon that is in front of the lighthouse. This is the cannon that Derek O'Hara had to stand up on top of. Remember this, Derek? Derek had to stand up on top of this cannon and flash the mirror above his head in order for us to see it because the refraction of the mirage was so strong. So I have two friends that I wanted to be here today, but they just couldn't make it. They come out here with me, and I'll go over to the other side. They have a camera here. I have a camera over there.
usually that's what they do.
We've used mirrors
Yeah.
to flash because a lot of times this lighthouse
Yeah.
is in a mirage. So like,
Okay.
so
Same thing.
so
as
you and I are standing here right now. If I was on the other side and there was a mirage, we wouldn't be able to see you.
Okay.
But if you had the mirror and you flashed it, we could see the flash.
Okay. Do you want us to drive with you have your own car?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, I'm right here. Yep,
Okay.
yep. I was right behind you guys, so I'll put my stuff in my car and then you guys can follow me. It's gonna take me like 12 hours to defrost. So smurfing cold. Bill Bowl in the house. Derek O'Hara Smurf in the house. Ay, ay, ay.
Is it possible for me just to cut your microphone? You know, it's inside you. Yeah. Just to get a little bit more very. Okay. And I will turn it on again at your place.
Oh, got it. Okay. So pooping cold. See my little Mini Cooper? Okay. All right. I'm gonna put this down. I'll be right back. Gotta get my backpack up. telling you what, it is smurfing cold. So I don't know if I can prop that up or not. I'm gonna leave that right there. And the keys in. All right. All you need is one hit, Jimbo, or whoever that was that made that comment of the one hit wonder. All you need is one hit. 6 hits. I've got the lighthouse. I've got the mile house. I've got the red roof house. I've got the channel marker contrast with Burrillville. I've got the mouth of the Chesapeake. I've got the Monet shot. I've got the Anacapa Arch. I've got the Anacapa Lighthouse. I've got the Anacapa Archipelago. I've got the Gina platform. I've got the Grace platform. I've got the Gilda platform. I'm pretty sure I've got more than one hit. Pretty sure. We have got 28 Smurfs watching. We got 32 Fonzarellis. That's awesome. I think I'm going to crank up my heat to like 85. Oh, so cold. All right, got a nice little shipyard right here.
Are you born and raised?
No, I'm from
Marylander?
California.
Oh, from
Yeah. But I've been in Maryland for about 20 years.
It's really a very nice city.
You said you live in Maryland?
Oh
Whereabouts?
yes, in Bethesda.
Yeah, I was going to guess probably around there. Oh, we're right here. We go this way, guys. Yeah, I used to deliver food down in Bethesda and Silver Spring, DC. Gonna go up these stairs, Fabian. Up these stairs. What's going on, man?
All right.
Great to have this.
Got a great view.
Yeah.
All right, going in.
Thank you.
Really got a great place.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
We're staying with the stadium. We were in Alaska last week.
You were in Alaska.
Yeah, really the far north of Alaska. So, and we're saying, okay, it's not as cold as Alaska, but it's pretty cold today.
What were you doing there? What was the story?
It was a story about global warming,
Okay.
and because you have a city which is called Kivalina, which is up north from the Bering Strait,
Okay.
and they need to relocate in a very few years from now. They'll have to relocate. So those may be the very first climate refugees from the United States.
Huh.
In the United States. Are those yours?
What? Oh no. So I drive a tractor trailer, right?
Yeah.
And one of the companies that we deliver or we pick up product from
Yeah.
is a they develop pictures
Okay.
like Snapfish. Have
Yeah,
you heard of
yeah,
Snapfish?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So it's like Snapfish. So these are all cast-offs. These are all damaged
yeah.
or they have blemishes, like right here. So they threw these away. So I dug them out of their dumpster and used them myself. Yeah, so all of those are not my originals.
Okay. And so can I
Do whatever you
put
need
it
to.
underneath? Oh,
You want to put it in through?
yeah, but I need to change it.
Okay. And like I said, I've got coffee. If you want coffee,
Oh,
choose
yes.
any one of these
You
cups.
know what? With pleasure. With the. Thank you so much.
Don't worry about spilling drops or anything. Wherever.
No, but it's,
I wasn't sure how many people were going to show up, so you can choose whichever cups you want. And I have coconut cream. Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
Coconut milk.
Really, it's fine. David, do you want some? And Travis.
Let's see. Thanks. Yep. And then I'll get a dry spoon for the sugar if you need sugar.
Can I mic you again?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd like to pass it underneath your shirt.
Is there any?
Oops, I'm sorry.
Is there any like
Yeah, let me do this. I'll bring this up there.
Yeah.
like convention or?
Well, there was a convention in Dallas
Yeah.
in November,
In November.
and
Okay.
I was at that one. There was a convention in October in South Carolina, I believe it was. They called it Flattoberfest.
Yeah.
I can't. I think the talk is next year, maybe in Vegas, maybe doing the convention there. But yeah, so the past 2 years I went to the convention. The first one I went to was in Denver, and then yeah. So sugar or any cream?
No,
You're good. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe yeah, if you have some pictures on your computer, you can show us.
How's everybody doing? You guys doing okay in there?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I guess we could just whatever way is going to be best for your camera. Just let me know.
I think as long as it's not in front of the window.
Yeah, if you want to have it this way so that the light is coming this way.
yeah, I would like to be be set up here. Is it possible to move a little bit the table?
Sure. Yeah, if we can move it right to where your camera is.
Yeah. I'd like
Um,
just to pull it a little bit here
Okay.
in order to get your screen. Is it possible to get your screen this way?
Yeah.
There?
And maybe I can.
So, if you want, I can get my desktop monitor, which is a little bit bigger than this. Just depends. I mean, it doesn't. It would take me just a couple minutes to set it up, but it doesn't matter to me. If you think that you're going to have enough,
All depends if it takes yeah, we need to do it like in 30 minutes.
okay. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry about it. I just was wondering if it was going to be better in terms of.
What do you think? Maybe a noise or something like this?
I think it will be fine, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thanks for the coffee.
Oh no,
Thank you very
my
much,
pleasure.
Tom. Thank you
Yeah, you're
for
welcome.
this.
You're welcome.
So this neither. It's Machu Picchu or
No, it's not.
no? It's not.
Nope. All right. What am I doing?
And this is El Capitan behind you.
What's that?
This is El Capitan.
It could very well be, but I'm not sure. Are you talking about Yosemite?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, in Yosemite you got El Capitan, which is, I think it's.
Yeah. It could very well be.
Bah, plutôt, si c'est possible, plutôt là.
Ah oui, là.
Ouais. Tu veux que je te
Non, 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 c'est pas mal, c'est pas mal.
Trying to think of where I put my coffee.
Ah.
Here it is. All right.
How well the conventions? This is a.
Yeah, well,
nice,
the conventions are great because you have a lot of independent research that people are putting into these discussions. Everybody has, their own fields that they're interested in. A lot there, you have people that are focusing on gravity, electromagnetism, and just, I mean, the field is wide open. It's almost like discovering the world again for the first time, really, because you have to rethink reality. If so, if the Earth isn't a sphere, but we are taught that light behaves a certain way, and objects are brought up over the curve because refraction brings them up. If you have that model on a sphere, but you flatten that model out, you get the same observation. The observation doesn't change, but the explanation is going to change. That's not it. That it can't stay the same, right? So, trying to think here.
Okay, so yeah, you can just show us, yeah, what kind of pictures you got here, and how do you work on if you yeah, sorry for that. It's not maybe easy for you to.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm not uncomfortable. So, Anacapa is a collection of islands off of the coast of California, and so I have a lot of observations with oil platforms and the island. The oil platforms are basically between me and the island. The island is 20 miles away, and then there are a number of oil platforms in between along the distance there. So again, uh, the island is far enough away that it should be significantly obstructed by Earth curvature. But the dynamic of the conditions in the air will change the way that the island appears. There are times when the lighthouse is on it, you can't even see it with your, it looks like a tiny, tiny little pinprick. And then the next day, depending on the conditions, the lighthouse is actually very, very large. And so you've got this dynamic
just due to
change,
the atmosphere.
right? So just some of the platforms that I have here. I'm going to try to drop this so I can.
And when you were thinking, because I saw Juliet show me some of your pictures where you have like measures on it, or where you can really see that it's flat. Do you have any pictures with because I saw maybe some of your pictures with
I'm gonna have to go get
like
my
markers no.
I'm not sure. I didn't think that I sent her anything. But if you did want me to get something, it would take me a couple of minutes.
It's maybe
Because this stuff is just going to be raw. I don't have this stuff marked up at all. But just for instance, like right here, this is the horizon, right? And we can see right here, there's this tiny little this image. This is what we would see with our naked eye. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'll show you that it's a boat. Okay, you see this boat?
Yeah.
And you see how distorted it is, how much the refraction is blurring the image. So it looks to me like right here is where the boat is on the water. But then you've got the horizon that's just a little bit farther behind it. So are we seeing this boat go over the horizon? Are we seeing it go over the curve? Because that's what it looks like with our naked eye. I can't see anything like that. I don't have that kind of clarity and my eyes aren't strong enough to see with any definition.
And at that distance, the ship should have disappeared.
Well, again, because we don't know the distance to that ship, but right, if you take those things into
it's far away.
Yeah, but if you take those things into consideration, so here's the way that that I have put it before. I have images with ships that are on the horizon, but they are blocked. And I've had conversations where the person says that's the Earth, that's curvature, it's being blocked by curvature. My argument is it's being blocked by the distortion due to refraction in the air. So how would we prove it? How would we go about proving it? Well, if this is the curve of the Earth, if that's a location on the sphere, that location, just like this oil platform, isn't going to change. Remember what I was saying before about my the observations that I make out here? I shoot those same locations because they're always going to be there, right? This platform is always going to be here. But you know what's going to change and be different? This. The horizon is going to change. Well, how can a physical location change its distance? How can it get closer to you? How can it get farther away from you? And when it happens, when that horizon goes through that change, this changes too, but it doesn't change its distance. It doesn't change its location. It just changes in terms of its. Sometimes the refraction can magnify it. Sometimes the refraction can squash it. They call it stooping. Sometimes it can. It's called towering, where it stretches it so it gets higher. But that's not physical. It's not physically changing that way. It's just so my whole argument is we can't say that this is curvature. We can't say that when we see a ship go into the distance here and we can no longer see the ship, it's because the Earth is curved, because this changes, and if this is a fixed location, there's no way that is going to be able to change. But I'm kind of just flipping through stuff because I have no idea necessarily what I can show you guys. One of the things, maybe I'll go back because I did see.
Maybe the one on the Chesapeake Bay too.
Okay.
Where?
Oh yeah, here we go. Chesapeake Bay, October. So here is a contrast. This is what I call, can you spot the difference? Go ahead.
Can you turn your shoulders? Yeah, like you were. Yeah.
Okay,
like that, yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so can you spot the difference? You see, here's the Monet shot, right?
Yeah.
So we have an inferior mirage here, and this is where the water ends visually for us, okay? But this isn't where the water physically ends because the water continues to go toward this island. We just can't see it. So you'll notice both of these pictures were taken with the same focal length.
Okay.
Okay, I zoomed into the same length of my lens. So we should see the same image.
And we don't.
Do you see the same image?
No, no, no. That's not
What
the
are
same.
what are some things that you see that are different?
We would feel that the length of the water is not the same.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. Right, right. That's a good way of putting it. So you see right here where the water ends here?
Yeah.
It ends right here. So you see how the horizon has changed? It's gotten closer to us. So that's what we have to understand happens out on the ocean. Because this is only 3 miles away, but this same effect can happen on the ocean depending on the object that you're looking at. And if there is a mirage, the line that we see isn't the curvature of the earth, it's the limit of the mirage. And just like we know that this water is going into the distance, going into the distance, going into the distance, right here at this point, it doesn't start to curve away. It's still going into the distance. And that's exactly the same thing when you look out over a larger body of water. The water continues to go farther into the distance. When you can't see the water go any farther, it's because of the what's going on in the air with the conditions of temperature and water temperature and air density, humidity, wind, everything, air pressure, if I didn't say that already. But one of the things that I find fascinating is that the entire image is shifted. So like these two markers right here, those don't change. Those always are there. But over here, they're a little bit higher. Everything's higher. It's not just that the water changes, the air, the dynamic that's happening in the air shifts the entire observation.
And you were exactly on the same
Yeah,
position.
you saw where
Yeah.
that sign I set up because that's what that way I always know that I'm setting up in the same spot. So
How long time in your week do you?
I'm sorry.
How many times do you?
Every day.
Every day you.
Every day, as often as I can. I usually work 12 o'clock, and so you know I'll get out as soon as I can, as soon as I wake up if I'm not exhausted from working, and trying to think of something that I can show you. I have my external terabyte hard drive over there that has more things on it than I can show
Yeah,
you.
but it's already very visual. Maybe you can just explain us again. If you have the, do you have another picture with a ship? Because I think it's very it's a very good explanation to explain to our viewers.
We'll see if this one.
The idea of the ship should normally disappear behind the curve, and it's not. It's something very basic that everyone can understand.
It would. I don't like. Again, I moved everything off of here that was large onto my my external. So
drive.
I do know that I can pull up a boat video, but this is part of it. Okay, so this is the Anacapa Island, and this is a fishing boat that is trolling back and forth. It's just going backward, back and forth, back and forth. So what we see right here is if I were to zoom out, you would see this line right here. This line is where the water ends. Okay, we cannot see anything here that would be water. So what does that mean? What is this? Right? Is this curvature? So if we keep this line going over here, the water is right here, but we see now the boat, right? We've got this part of the boat. This line represents the vanishing line of the mirage. So if you're familiar with the term in math, a greater than sign, greater than, less than.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So you see it going in like this and then coming back out. That's the mirage reflection. This is the physical boat. This is the physical boat. Right here is the mirage, and then this is the mirrored inverted image. Okay. So what we have to understand is, just like in the image with the house where the mirage starts right here. Remember what we said before, that the water continues to go into the distance even though we can't see it? It's the same thing here with the boat. We just can't see the water hitting the boat. So now we've got this part. We've got the cabin of the boat here, but look at the back. Look at the stern. We can't hardly see the stern. Now there are waves here, of course, but what you're going to see is, if we were watching this in video, you would see this come into view, go out of view, come into view, and go out of view. So here
it this other
yeah
yellow line.
right, yeah. So this is the uppermost part of the Anacapa Island, and you see. So here's the greater than sign, right? Here's the greater than sign. Here's another greater than sign. This is the physical island, physical island, physical island, mirage. This is the inversion. See, we got sky right here. You have the sky right here. This is the sky right here. So this all right here is mirage in the background, past this boat. Okay. This is mirage, but it looks like it's the full physical island because it's so dark. But we can see right here that the mirage begins its inversion. So what does that mean? What is right here really in this space? It's the water. It's water going into the distance. So the way I say it is, if I could take a magic wand and take away the mirage, you would see the boat, and then you would see the water continue and go. Now you wouldn't be able to see the shoreline again because our eyes aren't that strong. We don't have Superman's eyes. But we would understand that's what happens in physics. Water from, if this was a container, right? Or let's just make that if this is too abstract. So here's the island, right? Here's the island, and here's me. If you were on the shore of the island and I was on and I'm on the shore, and we both put our feet in the water, we are going to be straight across from each other. There's not a curve in between us. But in the spherical, in the globe model, halfway between us, there's going to be a raised portion that I can't see over. I shouldn't be able to see you. And so one of the things that let me see if I can find it real quick. Try to maybe wrap up with this. There is a let me see if this one has any Anacapa imagery. No. There is a natural arch. These are stock images. These aren't my images. But this is a natural arch on the south side of the Anacapa Islands. Okay, so you can see this arc. Okay. So I have footage where I can see the lighthouse and I can see the island, but I can't see the arch. And then I have images where I can see the arch. Right? So this is comparable to what I said about you and me. This is only 40 feet high. At this distance, at 20 feet, I should not ever see this. Ever. But I can. And when I don't see it, it's not because it's behind a curve, it's because the refraction in the air is blocking it. But not only that, I have this up in the air. Well, it looks like it's up in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, my channel, I've got them up there. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, and it goes down. I do it in fast forward of the video that I've taken. It's absolutely amazing. What's interesting about when I first started looking into Anacapa. Anacapa is the Chumash Indians in California.
Mhm.
Their word Anacapa means mirage. This thing is so dynamic. It's amazing. Absolutely just.
I didn't know that, but it's real. And once again, more generally, um, would you? So what's all this about? Do you think there is because do you think what there is a lie, a conspiration for a few decades, but not only because the circle Earth is accepted after after Galileo had his troubles with the church, but after that it was like a consensus,
Yeah.
it was accepted. So would you say that's for like 500 years, 400 years now, um, we have been tricked in something that no one can prove.
So I suppose the easiest way to maybe try to get you to think about those things. You don't have to answer this question,
Yeah,
but
sure, yeah.
just think about this. Is there anything that our government tells us that you don't believe, that you don't trust, whatever it could be? Is there anything that you think, not really sure about that? Whatever it might be, if it's a major catastrophic event 19 years ago, if it was an assassination attempt, if it was what we were told about Saddam Hussein, if it's what we were told about Gaddafi, if it was what we were told about Hitler. If you question one thing, what is it that is stopping you from questioning everything? Oh, well, they would never lie about that. Really? Is there reason to doubt? I think that there is reason to doubt. And I think that that is our freedom as free thinking people to question our sources. I don't think there's a problem with that. You can confirm yourself. You might confirm what you think. Yeah, okay, I'm satisfied. That's right. Okay, that's fine. You can be satisfied that way. So
and what would
my
be the point
let,
behind
let,
that? Oh,
well let me
sorry,
let me get back to what I was saying. So I think that there is enough evidence that I've seen that I don't believe the story that we are told about the shape of the earth. There is enough evidence for other people with physics that they don't believe space is real. They do not believe that what we've been told about space is real. And those arguments make sense to me. They make sense. So those are things of reasonable doubt. So if that's the case, then when did the lie begin? Who has the time to try to figure that out? I don't. I got a job to go to every day. I use most of my free time doing this, which is what I love. So we're I can remember being told as a kid that we're all told about the story that they used to believe that the earth was flat. They used to believe that you could sail off the edge. I think that that's part of the story. I challenge you to find the origin of that story. I don't think you can do it. That's just what people say. The teacher heard his teacher. The teacher when he was a kid, his teacher told him that. And so he's just repeating what his teacher told him. But what we're told now is when I was younger, I believe the time frame was like 500 years. We've known that the Earth is a globe for 500 years. Galileo, like you said, Copernicus. The story now is 2,000 years. We've known for 2,000 years. Which is it? Is it 500? Is it 2,000? Why is the story changing? Because the story is changing.
Mm. And when you say that you don't have the time, me neither. You're right to prove that and to dig deeper on that. But some people, that's their job, geologists, scientists, astrophysicists. Do you think they are lying willingly, or do you think they are, or themselves are kind of there are two victims of that
Yeah.
system?
I'd like to give the benefit of the doubt to the regular people that they are simply not looking in the right direction. Remember what I said before about the courtroom? They think that that is the way it is. So they're not looking for someone else. They have their idea. So that's just the way that we normally are. We take it for granted, right? Think about this: when a child is told that Santa Claus brings him presents, he might ask a question like, "Well, how does he get down the chimney?" Right? What's the parent going to say? He drinks a magic uh, coconut milk reindeer juice. You know what's going to be your answer, right? But the kid's got a question. He comes down the chimney. I can't get down the chimney, Mom. Isn't Santa Claus like 300 pounds? How's he get? It's magic, Johnny. It's magic, right? But then when he's 10 and he looks at the present and he sees his name, and his name is written just like his mom writes his name. And he goes, "Mom, if this is from Santa Claus, how come he writes my name like you? You write my name like that. I know you make my tea, my little swirly tea. That's how you make my tea. What's the mom gonna do? She's gonna be like, um, well, Johnny, Santa Claus can write like everybody's mommy. When are you gonna stop the lie?" So we just either accept the story and we don't ask any questions. And I think that, to answer your question, people who are in the mainstream, like me, like I said, I studied for the ministry. I was going to be a pastor, and I was a pastor for a couple of years. But uh, my pastor, who was over me, he and I would have disagreements. He did not agree with my biblical interpretation, right? So he's going to teach what he believes it to be, but he's not lying. I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong, but he's not lying. So when you get into the area of what we're talking about, with if it's government, if it's education, if it's history, whatever it is, the regular people, they are just telling the story.
And what
They're
would you say about people working at the NASA, for example, former astronauts? Do you think that because those are meant to have been in space, so
I know, I
are
know.
they
So
lying willingly, or
the same scenario is, if you have someone who works at NASA and they build a part, they build a an electronic part that goes to the satellite X. That's all they do. They don't. I mean, they're just going to do their job. So they think that they're contributing to the bigger story. Now, they're not lying. They say, I built that. I built that satellite. That satellite's up there. Whatever. Okay, that's fine if you want to believe that. It's fine. But when you do get to a certain level, the innocence stops. Once you cross a certain line, I don't know what that line is. I don't know what it is. But I don't believe space, the way that we've been told, is possible. And I can argue that point. I can argue. You might not agree with me, but I can argue that point. So if space in that way is not possible, then somebody is lying at that level. If you told me you went to uh, Narnia, where Aslan and Peter and Susan, if you told me you went there, I'd be like, no, you didn't. You didn't go. Sorry. What are you saying? Are you calling me a liar? Well, let's just talk about reality. How about this? How about I don't call you a liar, and we talk about the possibility and the probability of the world that you say exists? I think that would be an interesting conversation.
yeah, I'm smiling because I'm watching those with my kids right now, and the Narnia movies,
Because
and
look, because time is different in Narnia, right? Susan, they go into the wardrobe, they come out the exact same, but they grew up and were adults.
yeah,
Time in Narnia
it's different.
is different. Space is.
And but what would be the point? We can understand why governments, for example, would conceal the truth on, I don't know, Iraq, 9/11, things like this. What would be the point for governments to yeah
The
to
question
cover the truth on round Earth versus flat Earth?
the question is, who benefits, right? Did you ever see the movie The Princess Bride?
Wow, long time ago.
Okay. But you remember the premise. Remember the premise of The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Prince Humperdinck was going to murder his wife on the night of their wedding and blame it on Gilder.
Mhm.
He was going to create a false narrative so he could go to war. Well, what do you need for war? You need money, you need people, you need resources. So if you create a story where you have a need, where you need people to volunteer to die, where you need people to volunteer to contribute to that effort, you're going to benefit somehow. Whatever it is, it might be financial. So
But why
Ult- ul-
having the Earth round would benefit to
Okay.
them rather than a flat
Okay,
Earth?
so let me do it this way. I'll try to wrap it up as fast as I can but this makes sense to me. Okay, let's go back to the Santa Claus example. So let's pretend like that you've told your child that Santa Claus is real and that he is the one who brings toys. But your child gets to the age where he can start earning money by doing chores, and you think to yourself, you know what? I really don't want to pay Johnny $1. So what I'm going to tell Johnny is, look, Johnny, Santa Claus needs your help. He can't pay his elves. So every dollar that I pay you, I'm going to take 30 cents and send it to Santa Claus because he needs you. You won't get presents unless he can build toys. So not only are you lying about Santa Claus, you're now extorting money from your child. Right? Do you think he'd be upset later on when he found out not only that you lied, but now that you've stolen that money? Can you think of anything that we might be required to pay to the government for a story that might not be true? Do we have anything that we are obligated to pay the government? Maybe it's called a tax. Maybe we are taxed for NASA. Maybe our money that we put in, and they take a portion of that out and they put it toward the space program.
And instead, this money goes where?
Well, it doesn't matter. First of all, space is a lie. Second of all, you're making me pay for it. You're making me. I don't have an option. I don't volunteer and say, you know what, NASA, I'm going to give you $2,000 of my paycheck this year. I'm going to do that freely or willingly. I want to do that. We don't have that choice. Our taxes are divvied up so that even if it's 10 cents, like somebody might say, well, you only pay NASA 50 cents. That's not stealing. That's okay with you as long as it's 50 cents, not $50, not $500. So it's a slippery slope of morality, right? So ultimately, my point is ultimately, if the story is false and you tax me to participate in that story, that's just heaping uh, theft upon lies. So the government, what are they benefiting from? They're benefiting financially somehow. However you want to look at it, they're taxing us for lies.
And as an investigator, would you like, do you hope, do you plan maybe just to go deeper, for example, to try to
Yeah,
reach that border of the ocean where
yeah.
maybe it's falling?
I'd love
It's
to.
something to see maybe.
I'd love to, but time, money. I mean, seriously. So I went to California in January to do photography on this island, and I was there for 7 days, and I didn't get great shots. It just wasn't. The weather just wasn't great. I've been there before, and I had fantastic stuff, and so I work. I make an hourly pay, right? I make an hourly pay. So when I don't work, I don't make money. So it not only cost me money to go on the trip, but also cost me money because I wasn't working. But I decided to stay another week, another 8 days, because I was just like, I can't leave. I can't leave. First of all, I love doing it. Second of all, I can't leave. The very next day, I got the money shot. And the day after that, and the day after that, just fantastic stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to just walk away from my responsibilities and and produce not just pictures, but like I said, I've got we have to take this outside of YouTube. It has to go outside of YouTube. It's not going to be it's not going to be settled in YouTube. It's going to be settled by taking these observations and writing them in a academic fashion.
And yeah, for sure that will be. Do you hope that? Because how do you feel nowadays? Do you feel with you and of course your community like lonely believers, and you need to expand that voice, or is it hard sometimes to discuss with people? Do you think that your people make fun at it, and
I
or
have
you don't
had
care?
I have had some of the most interesting conversations with people, and I bring up flat Earth. If I go to a bar and I'm sitting at the bar, guy sitting next to me, after a couple of minutes we're not talking to each other, I'll just lean over and say, "Hey, you want to have a really interesting conversation?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. I'm not doing anything. You're just having a beer." And then I'll use the beer in the glass and talk to him about what liquid does when you and its level. And I've had some fantastic conversations. Nobody has ever gotten angry. No one has ever called me crazy. I actually had one guy shake my hand and said thank you. This has been a really interesting conversation. So it's absolutely enjoyable. The only place that it's unenjoyable is on YouTube. There are psychopathic nut jobs out there that just come in to wreak havoc. They don't want to learn. They don't want to ask questions. They just want to attack. Call me stupid. Call me an idiot. Tell me I've got the education of a worm. I mean, we're, what? So, but it's a medium. YouTube is a platform. It's an opportunity to express art. It's an opportunity to express thought. And I think that we do have the opportunity to question.
And last question, because after yeah, first we need to go, and Fabian needs just a few last B-roll shots of you, maybe just watching your photos on your computer. But if one day you're lucky enough, you or with your friends to explore once again deeper, maybe go to the edge. Uh, what would you hope to see? Or how do you imagine it? The edge, the edge of
Well, but see,
the edge of
okay,
Earth.
so yeah, I mean, you keep asking questions that just open up doors for us to have a longer conversation, which
Yeah,
is
sure.
so
It's frustrating for me too.
again, I'm going to say that you said that you're going to bring your family up here or whatever. If you do that, please keep my number
Yeah,
and
sure, we will.
we'll hang out. I'll buy
Definitely.
you a
Yeah,
beer
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
we'll
sure,
have more
sure. We
conversations.
could discuss hours about that.
But um, where's
How do you figure the
well,
things?
hold on. Where's the edge of space? You know, does space have an edge? What's underneath us? I mean, all those questions are questions that we ask about one of the questions that people will say, well, okay, if we're not in space, so what's underneath us? You know, but the question still remains in space. You have space. Like, how big is space? Let's say space was just this big. So what's on the outside of it? You don't know. You don't know. So the question about the edge. So here's the edge. This is the edge. Water or a liquid that is contained has an edge. If this is a lake, right? The shoreline is the edge. So you can go to the shoreline. So I don't know anything about I know what people think the edge is, Antarctica. So if you go in any direction away from the North Pole, any direction as far as you can go, you're going to hit Antarctica. Okay, that's logically that makes sense. But if you spread that out on a flat Earth and you go in any direction and you hit Antarctica in every direction, I mean that's an idea. Nobody knows that that's the case, but it's an idea. Because again, the water that surrounds all of our continents has to have a border because water that is level has to be contained simply because the earth is so expansive that we can't necessarily get to the edge doesn't mean or the shoreline. I'm not going to say edge. I'm not going to say edge. I'm going to say shoreline, right? So if again if our continents were in the middle of a big lake, but the lake was so big we couldn't see anything, there's a shoreline that we would eventually get to because what we know about water has to be contained at that scale. It has to be contained. But again, I've only been in this for 2 years. So what opportunity have I had to get a large boat together with enough supplies to go on that adventure? I'd love to go on that adventure. That'd be fantastic, right? I just don't have the opportunity to do it.
Not yet, maybe. Maybe with friends in the future, with friends and money.
But okay, so you see right here? So this is the arch. Remember the arch that I showed you just a minute
Yeah.
ago? So this is the arch, but look how squashed it is. You know, and then the island right here goes up. You can't see the lighthouse. The lighthouse is right here, but you can't see it. On other days, you can see the lighthouse big as you can imagine, and you can't see this. Why not? It's all refraction. It's all what happens in the air. So the reason why we can't see as far as we'd like to think is not because the Earth is curved, not because there's something beyond the curve, so we can't see it. When we cannot see as far as we might think, it's because the air is saying, not today. But then the next day, the conditions are different and you can see it. It's the reason why you can see it is because it's there.
Yeah.
That's why you can see
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
So
sure. Maybe can you just just not necessarily talking, but just
yeah, I can flip through.
browse your photos and
Sure. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull up a video that's just 7 minutes long, but I'm going to play it a little bit fast. If you want to just look at it and just see how it changes, I think that'll be interesting.
And we can find that because if we want to have it on a full screen, we can find it on your YouTube network or
Yeah.
this video. Okay.
Yeah, I have playlists that I've made, and you can look it up, Anacapa Island or Channel Islands, things like that. I've got it in those. Okay, let's see. Ay, ay, ay. Loic, if you want to watch this real quick, it's pretty interesting. Okay, so this right here is a mirage. This little thin line right here. It's going all the way across. Okay, this is called a Fata Morgana. Everything right here is a mirage.
Really?
Yes. So the water then doesn't end right there, but it looks like it does. But the water keeps going up and up and up and up. This is the actual water line, in my opinion. Okay, so look and see what happens. See it get bigger right there? See it's getting bigger? Okay, now here's an oil platform, all right? This is an example of towering. So this is not to scale, right? It's not that tall, okay? This is the actual water line. So this is sky, but it's not. It's the mirror image of this. It's the mirror image of this.
In the ocean.
Yeah. Well, no, in the air. See, the ocean isn't the mirror. The atmosphere is.
That's the
atmosphere is. Yeah. Yeah. So this continues to grow. I go over here. It's a little bit thinner. See how it's growing? this is going to blend into one in a couple of minutes, and it's going to look like just like the ocean. There's a great spot, I think it's like at 3 minutes. I'll show you something crazy. See how it's growing?
Mm-hmm.
The mirage is disappearing, the mirage is disappearing, and it's showing you what was there the whole time. Oh, there it was.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that splash?
Yeah.
You saw that splash? All right,
can really see it.
let's go back again to the splash. I'm gonna slow down. It's gonna come at 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Here it comes. So look right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, there it
Oh,
was.
yeah,
There
yeah,
it was.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, that was a splash in water, right?
Yeah, it looks like it'd
Okay,
be
let's-
maybe just a.
Let's do it again. So it's right. It's gonna be right here.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. No,
Okay.
no, definitely.
Okay.
Splash.
5 minutes ago, that was sky. You get it?
It's
You want to go back again?
No. Yeah, because I was.
So look
thinking
right.
it
There's the
could be-
sky. There's
yeah,
the
it could
sky.
be just, I mean, an opening in the. No, but yeah, I should clear like a splash.
Because I have other images where you see the bird go down and
Mhm.
it's splashing and it's diving down to catch a fish or something like that. But see, the sky's right there,
Mhm.
right? But that's not sky. That's the mirage, and it's going away, and it's showing you that there's water there. So now you've got this. Like, what's right here? Is this?
Could believe it. It's just like a fog or.
Except you have the inversion of the mirage right
Mhm.
there. So if we were to be able to trace the line of where the mirage was all the way across, it would come across right here again. So this is not to scale on the platform. The platform should actually be this big.
No, it's really that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's huge. So it's to
Yeah.
To make me see again, you know, the pictures in close up that you
After, yeah, we need to do like 5 minutes.
You want me to pull up my files again?
Yeah, you showed us 3 main pictures. One was about can you see the difference,
Oh, okay.
and another one was about the sea. Would it be possible to turn it because I got
Do it. Yeah, do whatever you need to.
Yeah, 'cause oh, sorry.
No, it's
Because
okay.
I got the reflect.
Okay.
Yeah, try to avoid it. Okay.
Loic, would you mind looking to see if my stream is even still going? I don't even know if just look to see if
I think yes.
does it? Okay. All right. Can you see the chat going?
Yeah,
Chat's going? Okay.
Still going
Great,
now.
great. It was easy to just get distracted and forget that that's actually there. So I was thinking, I hope it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going.
So what, you want me to flip through another image, or I'm not sure what you want me to do really?
Yeah, maybe just some more pictures and quickly. I'm really sorry that we have this rally to go.
Yeah, no,
Usually we
no.
have two stories on
yeah.
the same day,
I know.
but it's that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way that we as flat earthers talk about the nature of our world is that the explanations that we approach this with are much more simple. Why, I don't have to make an excuse for why I see what I see, except for the fact that it's there.
Yeah.
But if we're on a curve and you shouldn't see it, You have to create a story for why you can see it. It's more complicated. Your answer is way more not yours.
Yeah, no,
Their
I see what
their
you mean, yeah.
their answer is way more. And you know what? You know how you prove that answer? Math. I can draw you a diagram and show you. No, no, no. Show me that in real life. Okay. You want to see what happens when you get into those chats? And this is what I do. And they show me. Here's my diagram. I say, show me a picture of that. Can't do it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. No, it's
So I did some streams when I got back from California because I have to look through the footage. But if I look through the footage and then try to present it to my audience, that's twice as much work. So I would try to. It's okay.
May I ask you just to be seated and watch your video for me, please? And,
yeah, just for 1 minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
Talking and just draw your picture.
All right. So I would ask you two more things. Just to enter your house again with your tripod and your entry setup here with your computer. For me, please.
Hello, 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 everybody. Just moving you around real quick. So you want me to take this and you want me to come into the house carrying this?
Yeah. To come in and to set up here with your computer, and to begin to watch your photos. And,
So you want me to bring this in and set it here and then go back over there?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Loïc, est-ce que tu veux mettre le cache derrière?
Choreography, yo. This is pretty exciting, guys, huh? This is pretty smurfing cool, I think. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm going to be entering the apartment now. Here I go.
Alright. Perfect. We'll do it a second time. If you can come from here. Sit to your computer. Yeah. Sorry, can we do it again?
Sure. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, yeah, it's when you want. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
No, not at
Thank you
all.
so much, Travis.
I've
Sorry
got
we
I've
have
got
to-
one more picture, just real quick. It's a great contrast with the Monet shot.
Oh yeah.
See how it blends into itself? So you've got that land. You can see the mirror here, but the land is completely gone. I just find that
No,
absolutely
no,
beautiful.
it's
Just
and,
beautiful.
I mean, artistically, aesthetically,
I get,
it's
yeah, I
beautiful
agree.
too.
I agree.
But,
Yeah, yeah.
this one, thank you so much. Really, truly sorry that we have to rush so quickly
Yeah, yeah.
to
And
all the story.
One last thing, would it be possible to send me some of your pictures?
Oh,
either
sure. You bet.
To my email address,
You bet, Fabian.
just right here.
Yeah.
And so, of course, so we're gonna air the story. Normally it's for tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow?
Yes. but
Really?
They just told me, yeah, but if Donald Trump is making more announcement on coronavirus, then maybe we'll have to do news tomorrow. But in that case, it will be aired in next week or something like this.
So do you stream online as well, or?
Sure, we're gonna send you the link so you can watch it
That's
on replay. So of course,
fantastic.
we're
Wow.
gonna do your part. We're gonna of course do a part with it because that explorer who was deceased when trying to
Mad Mike.
Mad Mike, yeah, to have his work. They want us to talk about that too.
You
Of course.
now do you know that there are people in the flat Earth community that don't believe he's dead?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Maybe.
They believe it was a publicity stunt. So
I think
that's
it's
another
cool.
twist.
Yeah,
That's another twist in the.
No, but to let you know, I think we're gonna make it for the story because we have to go and see everyone, every party involved. So we're gonna make 2/3 with the flat earthers and 1/3 with the NASA or people
Sure.
who just to balance because that's how we work.
Sure.
It's normal.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, you will have a big part of the story. So that's and
Now, is it going to be in French? Or are you going to have English subtitles, or how does?
so it's gonna be in French. So you'll be dubbed in French, so that will be fun.
Yeah,
But you'll hear your original voice beneath it. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So no, we won't distort your.
Oh no, I don't.
No, but
No worries. I was just
I
curious.
won't tell you, yeah, but yeah, you'll be dubbed in French. It will be fun for you. But
That's gonna
yeah,
be awesome.
You still hear
Yeah,
the
yeah.
original voice.
Yeah.
Really, thank you so much, Travis. Sorry
Great to meet you. Great to
sorry
meet you. I hope
leave
hope
so
to see you guys
quickly.
again.
I wish we could have more
Thank
time,
you,
but
Travis.
yeah,
My
once
pleasure.
again,
My pleasure.
we're not very far from
That's my back.
yeah, sure. And we're not very far from you, so really, we keep in touch, and I'll contact
Well,
you.
you know, again, in March 22nd, I am having a meetup where we will have more people because we've got enough time to make the plan. So if you
Okay.
guys are interested, March 22nd.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Take care, guys.
Thank you again, and good luck for your explorations and investigations.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you again.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, guys. Well, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? I missed that comment. We got 42 Smurfs watching. We got 46 Fonzarellis. Pretty smurfing awesome. What was that? So that's pretty cool. Okay, so here is the Monet shot. Thanks, Ali B. Brian's Logic, thanks. Ranty Flat Earth, thanks. So there is the Monet shot. There is the Monet shot. Brian's Logic, please cease from and desist from smurfing using Smurf words. I love that. That's awesome. So you see right here, Vertec Smurf, what's up? Essie Montreal in the house. Thank you, Brian. Seek and Find Smurf is here. Yep. So thanks, Derek. I think I got into my own when we moved back to the apartment. And being out in the cold, I was just cold. I was thinking about other things, and I don't feel like I was as clear. 50 viewers at one point. That's awesome. Epic. I guess I could go over to my computer and chat with you guys there. Thanks, Joe Mama. Appreciate it. Yeah, you know, it's like talking about things on the fly, trying to, am I going to say what I need to say? How should I say it? Is he going to understand what I mean? But I felt like it was pretty pretty clear. So everybody out there, you 40 Smurfs watching right now, I am going to be on Modern Day Debate tonight with Fight the Flat Earth again. It's going to be one-on-one, Fight the Flat Earth, and me going head-to-head on Modern Day Debate. That's going to be 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I am going to try to put together some stuff this afternoon for that presentation for show. I have to go to the bathroom, so yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up and say thanks to all of you out there in. I'm trying to read the chats at the same time as I'm closing out. I think I'm just going to close out. This has been another exciting adventure of the Plain Truth. I am your host, Travis Finley. If you have not hit that Fonzarelli yet, make sure you hit that Fonzarelli before you leave, please. Yeah, so this has been Travis Finley. Until next time.